Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
The Alexander School Board met for the first time last night since the proposed school levy failed. Good evening, I'm Lily Bradley. Thanks for joining us. The meeting carried on as normal with hardly any mention of the levy. President Fred Davis says he wanted to give the new members a chance to make their own decisions about the district. One of the biggest expenses is transportation, which could greatly impact the area.
But the community's going to have to come together and work with the school board and the teachers and decide what level they want it funded at.
The next meeting will be held on December 13th. Some federal Hawkins students may be getting a little extra sleep next year. Later start times for high schoolers and earlier start time for elementary schoolers were proposed by a committee this summer. The school board then approved Superintendent George Wood to change the start times without having a vote. Studies show a lack of sleep can lead to brain development issues. Federal Hawkins officials held a meeting for parents and community members on Monday to ask questions and voice concerns about the proposed changes for the 2018-2019 school year. Some disagreed with the change, while others were supportive. Athens parent Ann Cornwell says changing start times is the best option for all students.
To me, it's all related to help. Getting enough sleep is a health issue. I think every school with teenagers should follow these reports to say no earlier than 8:30.
The next meeting will be held on Tuesday with another following on November 29th. It is not yet clear what the start time would be changed to. An Ohio University student passed away earlier this week. A spokesperson with the university confirmed Allison Suey's death. Suey was a freshman in the School of Education. Dean of Students Jenny Hall-Jones says the university has reached out to the family and will provide as much support as they can. At this time, there is no information on how Suey died. The former Ohio University dining hall employee who was arrested earlier this week appeared in court, denying all allegations against him. 38-year-old Curtis Embry from Meigs County was charged with third-degree felony making terroristic threats after OUPD says Embry threatened to, quote, take down himself and other Nelson Dining Hall employees. Embry told the judge that he had no firearms, has no history of violence in his criminal record, and denied all allegations against him. Embry's bond is set at $30,000. A former Ohio University student pled not guilty to 2 counts of rape. Police arrested Roxanne Ossie last week with felony charges of rape. Ossie is accused of engaging in sexual activity with a highly intoxicated female without her permission. Prosecutors say there were several witnesses. Ossie is being held at the Southeastern Regional Ohio Jail on $500,000 bond.
Hi everybody, I'm Nicholas Snyder. Weather-wise, it was a very beautiful day outside today. Temperatures were in the 50s. We saw all that sunshine all across the area. As we take a look at the temperatures across the area, still pretty beautiful out there right now. 50 in Columbus, 46 in Newark, the cool spot, and of course the warm spot is down in Ripley. Now our weather photo of the week comes from my good friend Brendan from Cincinnati, showing those beautiful fall colors on a beautiful day. Now I'm new here, so I would like you to connect with me on social media to receive weather updates, ask any weather questions, or send in your weather photos at Snyder_WX on Twitter and Instagram. Now, here are the highlights as we go throughout the next couple of days. It's going to be very, very cold to start the weekend. Sunny skies, however, and then an early week warm-up. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in just a couple of minutes. But Lily, I mean to tell you, you are going to need that winter jacket for the beginning of this weekend.
No, I wish those warm temperatures would stick around. Thanks, Nicholas. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. For the second time, authorities in Piketon moved the trailers where members of the Roden family were found dead 18 months ago. Officials say it's necessary for the investigation, but as Hillary Lake explains, the move comes with a price tag.
From afar, it looks like a junkyard. Look closer inside the barn and you'll spot a house.
It'll be sealed and used to house the trailers that were the crime scenes in this case.
Wrapped in plastic, it's one of the homes where someone killed 8 members of the Roden family in April of 2016. Why they're now at the Pike County Sheriff's impound lot comes with a taxpayer price tag.
It is fair to say that BCI probably left no stone unturned as far as analyzing them, photographing them, those type of things.
County Prosecutor Rob Junk tells the I-Team last Thursday the Sheriff's Office moved 4 trailers, which are evidence in the case, from the Hadsel Chemical Building a few miles away.
Once they're at the pole barn on the premises at the Sheriff's impound, there should not be any worries there.
Deputies initially moved the homes after the murders happened from properties on the hill near the Adams County line. They stayed locked inside the chemical warehouse for 18 months.
It's one of the few places in Waverly that was big enough to hold mobile homes, a piece of a house, and a camping trailer.
Court records show Hadsel Chemical and the company's owner, Don Hadsel, filed for bankruptcy in April. The building also faces foreclosure. The 9 on Your Side I-Team discovered in August the Pike County Board of Commissioners approved an emergency motion to spend nearly $96,000 so the Sheriff's Office could build that barn just to house the Roden crime scenes. The county had already spent $160,000 to move the buildings the first time.
At some point, Gail, we could do a jury walkthrough if and when there are charges.
Investigators still haven't named any suspects, but the Attorney General and the Sheriff said in June they wanted information about the Wagner family. Jake Wagner was the boyfriend of murder victim Hannah Roden and shares a daughter with her. The Wagners have moved to Alaska.
I'm confident at some point that it will be solved.
Anyone with information related to the case is asked to call Southern Ohio Crime Stoppers at 740-773-TIPS. An $11,000 reward is being offered for any information leading to an arrest and conviction. The neighbor who assaulted Kentucky Senator Rand Paul pled not guilty in court. Rene Boucher reportedly broke 6 of Paul's ribs after tackling him outside of his home late last week. Boucher's attorney says the assault had nothing to do with politics, but that it was over landscaping issues. The men have lived next to each other for 17 years. Boucher faces up to a year in jail if convicted. Cases of tick-borne Lyme disease are on the rise in Ohio. The state's Department of Health and the Department of Natural Resources are urging people to take extra caution, especially when participating in outdoor activities like hunting. Some tips to prevent tick bites include wearing bug spray and tick repellent and walking in the center of trail paths if possible. The Senate Republicans released a tax reform plan today. How the plan is different from the House's. Plus, big groups, including students, hit the streets in protest of DACA. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA
GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Senate Republicans released their tax plan today, and it includes some differences from the plan the House Republicans previously laid out. Omar Jimenez breaks down the Senate plan and what's next for tax reform on Capitol Hill.
As the House moves forward on taxes,
it takes time, but trust me, we're going to get this over the finish line.
The race to a finish line on reform now shifts to the Senate. Among the major points in their new plan, a full repeal of the state and local tax deduction, a child tax credit almost matching the House around $1,600, and a one-year phase-in of a 20% corporate tax, a period that's crucial budget-wise, but a timeline the White House is opposed. Senate Democrats also weighing in on the overall effort.
Like the House bill, it will favor the big wealthy corporations, wealthy individuals, and do harm or nothing much for the middle class.
But for the GOP, the stakes are high. Coming off the heels of a Democratic wave of election victories Tuesday night, Senate Republicans may not be able to afford going 0 for 2 on major policy heading into the 2018 midterms.
Will
the Republicans be worried?
Yeah, if we don't produce. I think the antidote to our problems are success legislatively. If we can cut taxes for people in a way they feel it, if we can repair a broken healthcare system that does a better job taking care of people, then we'll get rewarded.
And the White House making their position clear.
If they show that taxes are going up on the middle class, on the House plan, on the Senate plan, on some combination of the two, we won't sign it.
Looking ahead, the House Ways and Means Committee will now move to a floor vote, and the Senate will head for committee consideration as early as Monday. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
If the Senate and House pass separate tax bills, lawmakers will have to create a reconciliation bill. Republicans have set an end-of-the-year goal to overhaul the tax system.
Will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be.
And the Democrats aren't the only ones responding negatively to President Trump and the GOP's changes. Students from 9 Washington, D.C. area schools protested DACA in walkouts today. The Wall Street Journal reports Republican senators won't include ongoing protections for DACA recipients in the year-end spending bill. DACA provides protection for nearly 800,000 immigrants brought into the U.S. illegally as children. President Trump decided to rescind the program back in September.
I think after October 5th, which was the last deadline for DACA renewals, immigrant young people and allies decided we need to take action. Congress has had 2 months and they've done nothing.
I'm walking out especially to stand in solidarity with the people who are recipients of DACA and can't speak up for themselves.
The students weren't the only ones protesting. Large groups gathered in Washington streets. Senate Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi says she won't leave until the DREAM Act is passed.
I'll have to see what the spending bill is, but I fully intend that we will not leave here without the DREAM Act passing, with a DACA fix. And I've made that very clear.
DHS Secretary nominee Kristen Nielsen says we need to find a permanent solution. DHS Secretary nominee Kristen Nielsen says we need to find a permanent solution, and we can't expect anyone to live months at a time. The Senate has confirmed President Trump's controversial pick for a top job at the Environmental Protection Agency. Attorney Bill Wareham will serve as the Assistant Administrator for the Office of Air and Radiation. Environmental advocacy groups have strongly opposed Wareham, who previously worked for the EPA. Warren became the second of President Trump's EPA nominations to secure Senate confirmation. Despite the Trump administration slashing open enrollment advertising and support, thousands are signing up for Obamacare this year. More than 600,000 people signed up in the first 4 days, far outpacing last year's rate. Nearly a quarter of those were first-time enrollments. The data, which covers November 1st through the 4th, comes from the Trump administration.
Weather-wise, we've got a major cool down coming in for the beginning of the weekend, but a major warm-up is on the way for the beginning part of next week. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in just a couple of minutes. But first, a look at stocks of local interest.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Nicholas Snyder. Weather-wise, again, it was another great day today. Temperatures were in the 50s and we saw that sunshine. And it's pretty great still out there right now as we see the current temperature is 48 degrees. Not really anything to deal with in the wind department. The dew points are in the 30s, keeping that humidity low. And that barometric pressure is at 30.12 inches and falling as a cold front makes its way through the area. More on that in a minute. But first, let's take a look at the temperatures around the area, generally in the upper 40s and lower 50s. The warm spot down in Ripley at 52, the cool spot up in Newark at 46. All in all, just still quite nice out there. Now, as we take a look at the big picture, we see this cold front that's draped across Indiana and Illinois, and that will eventually push off through the area tonight and tomorrow, and it's really going to cool us down for the beginning part of the weekend. And if we take a look, high pressure will be dominating Saturday, but it will be very, very chilly. But first, let's get you through tonight. So tonight, we're going to drop you down to 42 at about 8 p.m., 37 at about midnight, and 31 at about 4 a.m. Clouds will continue to increase as we go through the night. And we have a small chance of snow up in the northern portions of the viewing area, mainly in Coshocton, Tuscarawas, and Carroll counties. Overnight lows again will be dropping into the upper 30s or upper 20s and lower 30s. The cool spot in Newark at 38, the warm spot down in Ripley at 32. So for the bus stop tomorrow, those kids are going to need those winter jackets. 30 degrees, very chilly. Make sure they bring their winter coats, hats, and gloves. Winds are going to be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour with clear skies, and it's not going to really warm up all day tomorrow. As we take a look, we only warm you up to 35. The only good news you could say about this, sunshine will be infiltrating the area, and it's going to be a nice day precipitation-wise, not so much temperature-wise. So tomorrow in Athens, 36 degrees, sunny and clear skies, but very cold. Winds are going to be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we look at the weekend, though, 40 degrees on Saturday. We do start to warm you up. Partly cloudy skies and cool. By Saturday night, clouds increase at 36, and Sunday, 49 under mainly cloudy skies. And as we take a look at that extended forecast, we warm you up to 49 on Sunday with clouds. Monday, also cloudy, 46. And as we go throughout the beginning part of the next week, look at that. We warm you back up into the lower 50s with lows in the 30s. So all in all, not that bad of a forecast, just with that exception of the beginning part of the weekend. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Nicholas. The nation's top cancer doctors are now saying that even one alcoholic drink a day may increase a person's chances of cancer. Kim Hutchinson explains in today's Health Minute.
Most of us have heard to always drink alcohol in moderation. The 2010 Dietary Guidelines for Americans defines moderate drinking as 1 drink per day for women and up to 2 drinks per day for men. But now, the Journal of Clinical Oncology says that drinking even a little bit can increase a woman's risk of breast cancer and a common type of esophageal cancer. Alcohol can cause an increase in estrogen, the essential hormone connected to the development of breast tissue, which could affect the risk of breast cancer. People who consume roughly 3.5 drinks or more a day are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop certain head and neck cancers and liver cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, alcohol can act as an irritant. Damaged cells trying to repair themselves may lead to DNA changes linked to cancer. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Tyler Corbett. Now, one Ohio football team is looking great right now. It's not the Browns, the Bengals, or the Buckeyes. The team I'm talking about would be the Ohio Bobcats. The Cats added another impressive win to their resume last night. Make sure to stay tuned to hear all about how the Cats did. And stay tuned to WOUB. And here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
I wanted a big senior night. I did. I wanted to crush these guys. I didn't want to leave here with a loss. So.
You said you like looking down here, yeah. You said you try to keep things loose pregame. Did you do anything different tonight than you came out loose and on fire?
Clearly, it was an emotional senior night for that Bobcat. Welcome back, I'm Tyler Corbett. Now, senior night clearly had Quentin Poling feeling emotional. It was his last game at Peden, and he was determined to help the Bobcats come out with a win. Now, it was a slow first half as the Bobcats went into the locker room up 10-7. The second half was an offensive explosion for the Cats. Ohio would hang 28 points in the second half to win 38-10. The second half was highlighted by a 62-yard touchdown run by Dorian Brown. The game would also see Nathan Rourke run for 115 yards to complement the 162 that Brown ran for. Rourke would also score a touchdown on the ground to push him to 17 on the season. Rourke is second in the entire FBS in rushing touchdowns. Ohio is now 8-2 on the season. And the Bobcats will travel to Akron next week to take on the Zips. Ohio volleyball will be seeing their regular season come to an end this weekend. Their second to last game will be in just a few minutes when they take on Kent State at the Convo tonight. Ohio enters tonight's matchup with a 14-14 record. The Bobcats do have their eyes on a top 4 seed in the MAC tournament, and taking on a Kent State squad with a record of 5-20 gives them a good chance to pick up a dub and make up ground. Then Ohio will wrap up their season on Saturday against Central Michigan. Ohio men's basketball season will kick off this Saturday against Alabama A&M. Ohio will be learning to play without former MAC Player of the Year Tony Campbell and other star player Jerron Simmons. In last week's exhibition against Capital, Ohio rolled out a younger lineup that many fans weren't expecting. Ohio saw a big game from Kevin Mickley, who was playing his first game in an Ohio jersey. Fans can still expect to see familiar faces Jordan Dardis, Jason Carter, and Gavin Block logging minutes for the Bobcats on the court. Now, former Ohio State running back Ezekiel Elliott is going to be on the sidelines this week for the Cowboys. Elliott had his appeal on a 6-game suspension denied. The suspension was handed out in response to a domestic violence claim that is still being investigated. Elliott has played most of the season in spite of this suspension due to various legal strategies. Now, another family struggling with legal issues is the Ball family. Middle child in the family, LiAngelo, was arrested while in China with the UCLA Bruins. He's not expected to be in China for long, and early reports suggest that house arrest is going to be the punishment. And now, more things to stay tuned with for WOUB. Gridiron Glory, we're covering a lot of playoff games this week. So you can see teams like Tri-Valley take on Bellefontaine, John Glenn against Licking Valley, and Philo at Meadowbrook. Now remember, the games have to be played at neutral sites, so you're going to have a bit of a travel if you want to see some of your favorite teams. But hey, that's all I got to give to you, so we're going to toss it back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Tyler. This year's Rockefeller Center Christmas tree made its way to the Big Apple today. The 75-foot, 13-ton spruce tree was chopped down in State College, Pennsylvania early this morning. It was growing at the home of Jason Perrin. Back in 2010, Perrin found out he had a Christmas gem growing in his yard. After 7 years of caring for the tree and giving it more time to grow, it's finally living up to its destiny. Once the holidays wrap up and it's taken down in New York, the tree will be milled into lumber for Habitat for Humanity. Let's head over to the Weather Center with a final check of weather with Nicholas.
Thanks, Lily. As I said earlier, we are going to have a major cool down tomorrow, 36 for our high. Again, it will be sunny though, but very cold. Winds are going to be out of the north at 5 to 10 miles an hour. And highs around the area, not really getting much better. 35 in Columbus, in Newark and New Lexington, 35 in Cambridge. The warm spot is 39 down in Ironton, so a very, very chilly day tomorrow. And as you see the extended forecast, a warm up for the beginning part of next week. Back to the desk.
That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Lily Bradley. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org.
Everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.